Hey everyone, Ronnie at Slater. If you work on roofs and you want to use your rope as a tool, something to help hold you on the roof, this is a good video for you. And I'm going to show you today how to use the Rig Descender, which is this. The Rig Descender works the same as these other two descenders by Petzl, but first I'll show you this one. When I hook the Rig Descender, if you want to use a descender, you've got to use it on a pelvic ring. You don't use it on this ring. You don't use it on a dorsal ring or side rings. So you need a good harness with a pelvic ring. So now I'm going to hook the Rig Descender to the harness, and I've got to pick a carabiner. This carabiner has a spring-loaded gate. Don't use that. And this carabiner has a locking gate. It's triac locking gate. Push, twist, open. I only use carabiners that either have a triac locking gate or a spring-loaded gate. I only use these for, I don't use these for anything that involves my life. So I use this type of gate and that type of gate. The difference between these two is you can see this gate's a bit beefier. This meets the ANSI certification. But today I'm going to show you the BMD carabiner. Push, twist, open. Push, twist, open. I'm going to hook that on my pelvic ring. Now I'm going to grab the Rig Descender. If you look at the Rig Descender, you're going to see a little loop. The little loop, when I open it up, you can see that little loop once again. The little loop is going to point to our anchor. You're also going to see a hand symbol. This is the part of the rope that's going to have your hand on it. But first, I'm going to hook this to my carabiner, to my pelvic ring. My preference is to have my gate up. That way I can always look down and I can see that my gate's locked and closed. So let's look and see how you load this. This has a catch. You always want to make sure that that is locked when you're using it. To open it, push, and you can open. The descenders have a lever. When I move that lever, you can see that it moves this. The anchor point is up high. And it's going to show you how I thread my rope through. I have to open my lever, and it threads my rope through. When I let go of my lever on the Rig Descender, it springs shut. And basically, you can see everything that's going on right here. With this going to my anchor point, when I lean back, it forces this part of the device down and pinches the rope. And that's basically how it works. If I open the lever and I open this device, basically I'm just unpinching the rope and allows the rope to pass through. So it's as simple as that. All we're doing is using friction and squeezing the rope. So I'm gonna lock this now. Now I can lean back on my device. See the anchor, you see the hand symbol. Anytime you have a big radius, that means it's where the rope is supposed to go. So the rope that my hand's gonna hold goes right over here. What you don't want is you don't want your hand right here, because when you open up the lever and your hand goes, it's gonna pinch your fingers and you're gonna let go, and your other hand might still be on the lever and you'll free fall as long as you're holding this. So that's a bad idea. So what you need to do is develop a habit. We're going to call this the controlling hand. I'm going to keep my controlling hand down at my waist. When I keep it down at my waist, and I could even put my thumb right there if I wanted to, I can't move my controlling hand now. I'm just going to let the rope go through my controlling hand. Okay, So if my hand were right here and I use the lever here, I'll pinch my fingers and then I'll let go and then I go down really fast, and that's a bad idea. So with your controlling hand, keep it by your waist. What you might see in some videos or in practice, you might see some people grab this lever like this. There's no need. Don't do that because it makes it harder to let go. 1 or 2 fingers, just like this, is all you need. So just touch it. You let the rope through with this hand, and there you go. So the danger here, there are a few different dangers. One, I could back right off of my rope, which would be a bad idea. 2, if I got slack in my rope and I fell, I might break my back. This is not a load limiting, this does not have a load limiting lanyard. This is not a fall protection device. So I might break my back, I might die. So your rope always has to be tight, and you want to make sure you have enough rope that this rope doesn't go through here. What I do is I'll tie a backup knot. This knot can't go through this device. So now I can back all the way down here, I goof up, stop. So basically that's how this descender works, this rig descender works. Now I'm going to show you the difference between the rig descender and the IDS. The IDS, as you can see, is bigger. They actually both work on the same size ropes, but this has a neat feature. If you're just getting started, I'd recommend that you use the IDS. Hey y'all, so let me show you the difference between the IDS and the rig descender. Here, of course, they basically look the same. The rig descender is smaller. The IDS is more for a beginner, and it's a safer device to use. So if you've been doing this a while, you might consider moving to the rig because it's lighter, faster, a little faster use. But let me show you the IDS first. So it's hooked on. I'm going to open the gate. We're going to load it. You can see that there's a little bitty symbol for a little bitty loop that shows which way the rope's supposed to be loaded. I've got to open the gate, fit my rope through there. And basically, you can see with the lever moved to the right and locked, we've pinched the rope. And also this part of the rope, just going around this can, also serves to pinch this rope. When I open this lever, it opens this pinch point and lets the rope through. This device, the one I have, doesn't have a spring load on it, so it doesn't pop back over and pop close. So when you get to your working position, always make sure that this is latched closed. You get to your working position, lock your handle. If you want extra precautions, you tie a backup knot. Now I can't go past, this knot can't go through this device, so I can't go very far. Here's the radius, so the rope goes over the radius. My controlling hand is down here. I don't need my whole hand on the lever. 2 fingers is good. But if I start going too fast and I panic, my natural reaction is to pull, and the IDS has a locking feature. So that makes it really good for beginners. And I'm locked off. So let's look at what happens if I load the device backwards. So if I goofed up and loaded this device backwards. And we're gonna shut the gate. I've got a pinch point here. And when I don't have the advantage of my weight pulling on this rope, pushing this cam, pinching that, but it's got a neat feature. So when I open the gate, this actually will lock the rope. I can't go down, so I'm stuck. So that's a neat feature. If you load it wrong, this will help save your life. Now you're kind of stuck here. So if you load it right, lock it right, and get to your work position, you can lock off. You start to go down. If you go too fast, you can pull the lever a little bit more and it'll lock off. Big advantage of using the IDS or the rig descender in your work over a simple rope grab is huge. I see a lot of roofers use this. It's the wrong device for what they use it for. And what they'll do, they'll buy a climbing harness, they'll use a quick connect carabiner, and they'll use this Ascension, and they think they're safe. This is a really bad idea, don't do this. They can go up. This isn't a fall protection device, it's not rated for that. You don't have a locking gate. You can go up, but you can't go down. If you have to go back down, the only way to go down is to unhook it. And now that it's unhooked, you have no fall protection other than your hand. So this is a bad device for this application. So don't do this. Another disadvantage of this is if you went over the edge of the roof, you can't go down. You're stuck. So if you have the right device, and let's say you have a descender, and it's loaded the right way, and you go over the edge of the roof, your rope's long enough, you just can lower yourself to the ground. So it's a much better device. If you want to climb with this device, that's easy to do too. This is a rope grab. This is the Ascension, this is the basic. I like the basic because I carry it with me and it's a lot smaller. If I hook the basic onto the rope and I hook the Rollclip Z to it, which is a triac locking carabiner with a pulley, and I take my rope, my hand side, and I put it through there, I can pull myself up at any vertical surface really easily. So you probably have a bunch of questions. I'd like to show you one other thing before we go. What happens if you load the rig descender the wrong way? Okay, so let's take a look at that. So the right way, of course, is like this. Y'all know that now. If you load it the wrong way, Do you remember on the IDS, it had a special device that would lock the rope. Here, if you load it the wrong way, you don't have anything saving you. There's nothing helping you. So that makes it a really good idea. Anytime you're hooking up a piece of equipment, verify that you put it the right way by testing it. Set up a safe environment to practice in and add levels of difficulty until you're very comfortable. And then you go out and you have a good safe roofing experience. Thanks, y'all take care. Welcome back, everybody. Now you probably have a really good understanding of how to use the rig descender or the IDS and how it's attached to your pelvic ring. This by itself is not enough for fall protection. You need to add something else that will have a load limiting lanyard. I use the ASAP lock, another Petzl device, with their sorber, which is a load limiting lanyard. In the most perfect world, when you want to be really, really safe, you'd have an anchor point, a different colored rope to your fall protection device. I hook my ASAP lock to my sternal ring. So I've got a working rope and I have a backup rope. I have a working device and I have a fall protection device with the load limiting lanyard. So I can back down this rope and my load limiting lanyard, ASAP lock will follow me. When I unhook this device and fell, this would catch me. So there's my fall protection system. In the real world, getting a roofer to use one rope is quite a challenge. So I'm going to show you how we use this device in our practice with one rope. I'll take my ASAP lock, put it on the rope. The ASAP lock can follow me, or I could be in locking mode. When I want to go down, I'll have it in follow me mode. For the ASAP lock to work as a fall protection device, it's got to move really fast and before it grabs the rope, kind of like a seat belt. That's not going to happen while I'm using this and sliding. But let's say if I take this off, now I have a fall arrest device. There's nothing stopping this from working properly as a fall arrest device. If I have this on, and I walk somewhere on the roof and get slack in my rope, and then I fall, I've goofed up the whole system because this is going to get tight on my waist before this gets tight, so the system wouldn't work right. So if you're on a walking roof, when you're away from the edge, you need to take this off and use your fall arrest device. If you're on a steep pitch roof, let's say a really steep pitch roof, and I want to go back up, I'm going to put my ASAP in lock, and I can go up that way. I could go up that way, keep pushing that up. You all saw basic rope grab. You saw the Rollclip C system before. I could just go up like that. So in order to have a complete fall arrest system, you need to add a fall arrest device. I just wanted to make sure that you all understood that, and I didn't want it to get in the way for you understanding how to use a descender.